Good morning again, friends. Just want to say a quick hello. Hope you're doing well and healthy in the midst of this continued unique season that we're walking through. I'm sitting in my car at a local high school, and it reminds me that this time of year would typically be a very busy time of year for many of us. As the school year is wrapping up, we'd start to attend various graduation ceremonies and parties and open houses, all to honor those graduates that are in our lives. And yet, safe to assume that for all of us, these ceremonies and these moments look significantly different this year, if not altogether have been canceled. But you could even step beyond just school graduations and think about all the significant moments in people's lives that have been altered or changed by this pandemic. And I'm thinking of things like weddings and memorial services and vacations and holidays. There's a long list. And of course, the root of disappointment is often either people or circumstances, sometimes both, right? People have a way of disappointing us. Circumstances have a way of disappointing us. And yet disappointment, of course, is not something new that's been brought about by this season that we're in. In fact, disappointment stretches the span of history. And if you were to look in the Bible, specifically in the Old Testament, you would find a long list of characters whose lives were marked by some level of disappointment. I'm thinking of people like Joseph or Job or Moses or Sarah or Rebecca or Elizabeth or David. All had stories of some level of disappointment. Things didn't go as they thought or hoped that they would. And of course, as you move over to the New Testament, there's a really clear example of this in the disciples, Jesus' 12 disciples. They thought as the Messiah that Jesus would usher in the Messianic kingdom. Instead, he went to the cross and was crucified. They thought that he would liberate them from Roman rule and oppression. Instead, it was the Romans who put him on trial and eventually killed him. And so disappointment both then and now is an inevitable part of life. Things don't always turn out like we hope that they will. And so how do you deal with this reality? Well, it's been said that gratitude and thankfulness is the antidote to disappointment. In fact, in 1 Thessalonians 5:18, the Apostle Paul tells us to give thanks in all circumstances. And we should pause there and say, really, Paul, all circumstances, even those moments when things don't turn out the way that we hope they would? And the answer is yes, all circumstances. And of course, this is a classic easier said than done, easier said than believed truth, right? That's coming out of the Bible. But what if today we made a conscious decision to combat disappointment with gratitude? What if today, when we were inclined to remember that special occasion or event that was canceled or altered, if we also made a conscious choice to remember something good that God has given us during this period of time? There's a beautiful passage in the Bible. It comes out of Habakkuk chapter 3, verses 17 and 18. Let me read it for us. It says this: "Though the fig tree does not bud, and there are no grapes on the vines, though the olive crop fails and the field produce no food, though there are no sheep in the pen and no cattle in the stalls, yet I will rejoice in the Lord. I will be joyful in God, my Savior." I pray today that in this season that has been marked probably by some level of disappointment for all of us, that we would find joy in God, and that we would use the weapon of gratitude to fight back the enemy of discouragement. Have a great Sunday. We'll talk to you again soon.